All right, so we got the tube installed. Now we need to wire it up. So there's a lot of steps to wiring this tube up correctly, okay? So first of all, this tube runs at about 28,000 volts. We're gonna have to be really careful about how we wire up the power. We don't want it shorting to anything here. And then we'll have to wire up the ground also. Okay, the power supply came with a little connector. So let's get that to about length here. I like the little connector to stay tucked in here because this whole area is your work area. I don't want this thing on top of it so when you push a piece of wood back it hits this, right? So I'm going to make sure it's able to tuck back in here. Okay, so I want it to come about out to here. I'm going to let this sit here for a second. Get that out of the way. Okay, and then I want this to have a little bit of slack, right? I don't want it tight when it's connected. I want it to have a little bit of a curl here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to splice it together and pull it tight. That way the splice is not anywhere metal. We're also going to wrap it in silicone. You might think like, oh, just wrap it with electrical tape. Just put a crimp on there. That will not protect it from 28,000 volts. It will still literally jump from here to this or here to the frame. So you need to wrap it with silicone, okay? The same silicone hose we're using to feed it air, the same one we'll use water, both those work. Okay, so I need to do a couple things here. Figure out the length of this, so I'll figure it out about the right length, and then we can cut it down if we need to. That looks about right. Okay, there we go. And then we'll strip this. Yeah, we'll strip this next. Okay, it's actually a tiny wire. There's a silicone wrap, there's a plastic wrap, and the wire is actually really small. So I'm going to go for one of the smaller areas here and pry it the rest of the way off. There we go. Yeah, I don't know if you see that. I'm going to twist this off, but the wire is actually that small here, right? It's a little thing. It's only running 20 milliamps, so it doesn't need to be that big, but it's high voltage. That's why it's got such a jacket on it. So I like to peel almost all the way, then twist it off. That way the cables don't fray, right? Okay, now I got my soldering iron set up. I've got it at 730, it looks like. I'm going to float this somewhat like that. Remember, always use fresh solder into things, okay? Don't solder and then bring it over, right? Because that smoke is that rosin, and you want that rosin fresh. So, there we go. That's a good flow. Same thing over here. Okay. Also flowed very nice. And so I'll trim it just a little bit here. There we go. There we go. Now, before we bring it together, got to get the silicone on there, right? Okay, so I'm going to give kind of a generous chunk of it. I'll just chew it with the strippers. There we go. Okay, so here's a generous chunk. I'm going to slide it on here. Okay. And now I'm going to bring these two pieces of wire together and make sure it's wired right or routed right. Okay. You can use helping hands. I personally am too impatient for that. So let the solder heat up and cool back down, and there we go. Cool. So that's good and tight, good and strong there. Okay. We'll cover it up with the silicone. Then we're going to take a zip tie because we don't want that silicone to ever come off. And I'm not going to zip tie over the center. I don't want to compress the silicone over the actual part we did. I'm just going to do it to the side of it and pull that really tight. And now that silicone's not going anywhere. Cool. So we've officially connected the laser tube to the connector here. All right, going good so far. I want to take this then, and just to verify length, like I might have to redo this, but I probably be fine. So you get this. That's all good. And yeah, that's perfect. Cool. And I could have gone a little further out or in, so it's actually got about the right wiggle room. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is put another one of these cable clamps on. There's the gray screwdriver. Okay. I'm going to get it on about right here. That way it can float above a little bit. There we go. Oh, still screwing. Don't give up yet. There we go. That's in there tight. Cool. Okay, that's a good grab. We'll do the same thing over here. So it's a screw, washer, wire tie, and then a drop in. And I knurled the end of it, just like in some of the first videos, to make it grab, or some of the first wiring videos. That way it made sure it's actually spun in there and grabbed onto it. Okay, about like that. Oh, maybe I didn't knurl this one. It's alright. Let's try to get it to just twist and grab. Nope, okay. It's alright, this one's knurled. We'll go with that. Something like that. Oh. we'll go with this one. I'll just knurl it real fast. I guess I'll show you guys how to do that again. Oh no, dropping everything. Okay. Just almost at the tip there and twist it. And now the threads are sort of messed up. And that way it doesn't want to thread in here as easy, which is going to force it to twist in the channel. Okay. There you go. For reals this time. There it is. Cool. Okay. And then I'm going to start with a zip tie on this side. And it's got two holders on it. I'm just going to use one. So let's see. Pretend that that's tucked in. It's got a little bit of a bump to it. That's good. Okay. Guess let's get that zip tie almost on there. There we go. Okay, so see, it's got the bump on there. It's tucked in. Now let's tighten that. There we go. Yep, that's good and tight. Okay, similar thing over here. I'm going to place that zip tie in. Okay. Get it on there. Most of the way. There we go. Okay, and then pull it taut, right? It's about right. Okay. And get that zip tie nice and tight. There it is. Cool. So now it's floating. Then these are extra long and annoying, so I'm going to chop this and chop this guy. Okay. Don't want to chop the soldering iron. There you go. Okay. Oh. So now you can still push things all the way to the back of it, back of the cutting bed. And we're going to do something very similar with the ground line here. So let's uncurl that. Ground line is not quite as dangerous. As long as there's a connection, you're fine. I have seen it spark before when the ground line gets disconnected. So I'm still going to wrap it in silicone in case anything goes wrong. All right, we still want to be somewhat safe with this. Okay, but that's a lot of cable there. So we'll cut that off. There we go. Okay, we'll do another stripping here. Notice that this is just a PVC jacket. It's not the silicone with the plastic insulator like the red wire has. So, yeah, it's literally not as dangerous. There's still 28,000 volts going in there, but it's going right to ground, so it's got nowhere else to go. Okay, got those stripped. Oh. There we go. I like to do a little hook with my solder here. It's a good flow. There it is. Beautiful. Cool. And before we get too far, let's chew at this with a with a cable stripper. Beautiful cut. Okay, Okay, slide this guy on. And then get it to flow together. Oh, there it goes. Oh, maybe. I don't like that. I'm going to undo that. Let's get a little bit better flow. There we go. That's a good grab. Cool. Okay. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, cover it up and zip tie it. And not on the actual solder point, right off the edge here. And make sure it won't move. Oh, it does move a little bit. There you go, that's a little better. See if we can get that. There we go, okay. Cool, and one of the wire straps I dropped, I'll probably go pick up and place this here. Don't place it right here, right? Because the cable might get in the laser way. Place it a little bit lower. That way you stay out of the beam area. And we'll also have to have a mount on this thing, so like don't attach it to this rod because there's going to be a mirror mount here in a little bit, in a couple videos. So let's see, we got the power set up. It's floating here, it's all soldered. That's good and steady. We got the ground all soldered up. Got it connected. There we go. So we got a tube wired up. Thanks for watching.